When one can do, I told you. Fine. So yesterday we talked about the Trivarta classification, just the introduction of that scheme, and now you can see Trivarta, which is also called as modified Coppens classification. Okay. So this is your Trivarta classification, which has 6 major climatic zones. Okay. Like when you compare with the Coppens classification, Koppen gave 5 major climatic types. Okay, if you can recall 5 major climatic types. In 1936, he added one more climatic type, that was your highland climate H type. Okay, but Trivarta is dividing the whole world into six climatic zones on the basis of temperature and precipitation. Okay, Koppen has divided the whole world into five climatic zones on the basis of again temperature and precipitation. That was direct product of the de Candolle map. Okay, that is the natural vegetation map that was converted into the climatic map. Okay, so this is your difference you can see between Koppen classification and Trivarta classification. More or less, it is a modified form of Koppen's classification. And I told you that he kept on modifying that scheme since 1930, right? And finally he came with a new scheme in the year 1980. And the purpose of this scheme of climatic classification was to ensure that the scheme of climatic classification is easy to understand, is easy to apply, that is easy to understand for geographer, for students, for biologists, for climatologists. Okay, that was the intention behind this scheme. Though the scheme, any of the schemes cannot be of use for climatologists, right? But for geographer, yes, this is now one of the most popular scheme we have, which is upgraded, which is updated with other elements, and you have some I would say some modification, some deviation from the Koppen's original model. Okay. Now you have 2 criteria followed here by Trivarta. You can see the first one, the climate type based on temperature characteristics. So he used again those shorthand letters just like Koppen, A, B, C, D, E, F, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. Except P type, I told you all other types are based on temperature factor. Okay. So on one side I have represented the climatic type which are according to temperature characteristics, like you have A, C, D, E, F. Okay, and then you have the P type that is based on precipitation. Is this point clear? Now you can see this first one, tropical climate. Okay, for tropical climate, Koppen also used the same capital letter, capital A, right? And Koppen divided that tropical climate into 2 subtypes. Right, if you can recall, 2 subtypes. One was AF type, the other was AW type. Okay, AW type. One more subdivision we made, and that was your AS type. Okay, the only difference which you find here is this AR type, which was AF type of Koppen. Are you getting my point? Okay, you can make a comparison here. So AR type, R here is representing the rainfall throughout the year. Okay, and Koppen used that small f to highlight the meteorological conditions where we have rainfall throughout the year. Every day rainfall not less than 6 centimeters. Then you have AW type, again similar with the Koppen's scheme. AS type again that is matching with the Koppen's scheme. Then come to the C type. Tropical, subtropical climate. Again, you will find a difference here. C type according to Koppen is says temperate climate. Okay, whereas C type according to Trivarta classification is subtropical climate. Okay, in Koppen classification, B type was the subtropical climate, if you can recall. Okay, so this is your subtropical climate according to Trivarta, who has again subdivided into two major climatic type. That is CF, CFW and CS. If you can again relate that with Koppen classification, Koppen gave this, we use this particular symbol that is CF. Okay, And Trivandrum just added one more, some more letter into this, that is small w. Small w means what? Winter dry. Just keep in mind, whatever expression has been given by Koppen with regard to those capital or small alphabets, the same expression has been used by Trivandrum. He has used some extra shortened letters, and he has given meaning to that. Like R is what? R is rainfall throughout the year, according to Trivandrum, right? Are you getting my point? This is one difference you should keep in mind when you compare Trivandrum with Koppen's classification. Then CS type, that is your subtropical western margin, western margin climate. Likewise, you have D, which is divided into DO and DC type. Okay, DO, that is your temperate maritime climate. DC is your temperate continental climate. E is your boreal climate, and F is your polar climate. Okay, who has, this particular climatic type has been subdivided again into two types, that is FD and FI. Okay, FD and FI. We have some star mark here just to highlight that these climatic types are not found in southern hemisphere, right? These climatic types you will find only in the northern hemisphere, just like Koppen's classification. I told you that under Koppen's classification, DW type, okay, DF type and ET type is not found in the southern hemisphere. Okay, right? So this is again one similarity you see between Koppen and Trivandrum classification. Now coming to the explanation, just let us elaborate this and talk about those climatic types one by one. Tropical climate, AR type. AR type means what? That means one climatic condition where you have rainfall throughout the year, you have high uniformity of temperature, high uniformity of moisture, there is no distinct winter, there is no distinct summer, there is only one condition, that is wet and hot condition. Okay. This is one climatic type which is equated with the equatorial rainforest, right? Equatorial rainforest. Okay, so sometimes it is also called as equatorial rainforest climate. Okay, so this is your tropical humid climate. That means we have rainfall throughout the year. Okay? Rainfall throughout the year. There is no distinct dry season here. There is no distinct winter here. You have high uniformity of temperature and high uniformity of rainfall. Because of this, what happens? The annual as well as the diurnal range of temperature remains very low under this climatic type. Okay. Now come to this one, AW, tropical winter dry climate. This is your savanna type of climate. Okay. And Trivandrum too has accepted that yes, this is your savanna type of climate where we have winter dry conditions. That means this is one climatic type which is found in the interior part of the continent, which has intense convectional activity during summer. Intense convectional activity during summer, and that leads to some amount of rainfall during summer. But that amount of rainfall is very less, right? Very less. Why? Because though the cloud formation is taking place in this particular belt, but the clouds are not fully saturated. Number two, the atmospheric temperature is very high. When you have the raindrop falling on the surface, they actually fail to reach up to the surface. They are evaporated before they can reach the surface. Whatever little amount of moisture falls on the surface of Earth, ultimately that moisture is not sufficient for the growth of vegetation. Are you getting my point? So this is your tropical winter dry climate, or we also call it as savanna type climate, where you have a vegetation dominated by tropical grassland. You will find tall grasses here and some isolated trees on it. Right? You will not find trees as a dominant vegetation here. You will find grasses interspersed with some trees here, and the trees are mainly dominated by deciduous varieties. That means they set their leaves during summer. That means during dry period, and again they come into life whenever we have moisture. Right. So normally you will find the trees here remaining bare body. They don't have leaves. Okay. And you know that it is an adjustment by vegetation to conserve moisture, right? They set the leaf. Why? Because they want to conserve moisture. Okay, there is more and more loss of moisture from the leaves, from the surface of the leaf. Okay, and that is the reason why they set that, so that they conserve moisture, and anyhow they pass through the dry season. Then you have tropical summer dry climate. Okay, I talked about the Coromandel coast. Okay, this is your summer dry. That means in this climatic condition you will find summer remaining dry and we have winter rainfall. ठीक है, winter में बारिश हो जाता है. ठीक है. So this is your summer dry condition. Now coming to the second one, subtropical climate, which is further subdivided into two types, CFW and CS type. Okay. CFW is your eastern margin climate. We also call it as eastern margin climate. That means this climatic type is found in the eastern part of the continent. On the eastern part of the continent. Okay. So due to strong land and sea bridges, that is due to strong maritime influence, we have rainfall throughout the year. That's it. F का मतलब याद रखना, F मतलब rainfall throughout the year. Okay. Sometime you have, if you compare rainfall during summer and winter, you find winter has relatively less amount of rainfall in comparison to summer. But even in winter we get some amount of rainfall because the climatic type is under the strong influence of maritime winds. Okay. So this is your eastern margin climate. In Köppen's classification, you will find this climatic type also called a China type of climate. क्या बोलता है? China type of climate. Okay. I'll come to some important climatic type, 3-4 climatic type, just 5 minutes. Okay. Now coming to this CS type, that is your subtropical western margin type, subtropical western margin climate, or which is also called as Mediterranean type of climate. Mediterranean. Okay. Again you have a similarity with the Köppen classification. Köppen has also given the same symbol, right? We have used the same shortened letter, that is C and small s. Small s means what? Small s here means summer dry. याद रखना है. And this is your subtropical belt, not the tropical belt, according to Trivarta, right? Whereas in Köppen's classification you find this Mediterranean type has been kept under temperate climate. अगर आपको याद होगा, C type according to Köppen's classification is temperate climate. Right? And he further divided that into two zones. The lower zone, that means the lower latitudinal zone, he considered it as warm temperate, and the upper latitudinal zone was considered as cool temperate, cool, right? So this is one climatic type, that is CS type. I'll talk about this climate type, don't worry. Then coming to the D type. Under certain D type, this is your temperate climate, and two types have been highlighted by Trivarta. One is your temperate maritime climate and the other is your temperate continental climate. So this climatic type you will find in mid-latitudinal mid-latitudinal zone and and there are two types. One is temperate maritime climate. This climate is under the influence of westerlies throughout the year, right? They remain under the influence of westerlies throughout the year. And when you compare with the Köppen's classification, this is your British type of climate under Köppen's classification, lying on the western margin of the continent, remaining under constant influence of westerlies throughout the year, and that leads to what? That leads to rainfall. Okay, that leads to rainfall throughout the year. So you have temperate maritime climate, which is also called as temperate western margin climate. Okay, western margin climate. So it is under the influence of maritime effect. याद रखना है. Then you have DC, that is your temperate continental type. Okay, temperate continental type, that means such climatic type which are found in the interior part of the continent, where the factor of continentality operates, and the temperature condition during summer and winter are very extreme. Right, you will find very low temperature during winter. Very low temperature during winter, and even in summer you have temperature not more than 10 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is your temperate continental type. That means one climatic type which is found in the interior part of the continent. Okay, I have given you one document, just one document I shared in the group. For Trivarta classification, please follow the document, because in your study material you have some confusion, because those points have been given in a comparative manner. So sometimes by the use of those variety of symbols and those limits of boundary based on isotherm, that may become confusing. Okay, so for your examination purpose, I would suggest that please follow this structure and just replicate this. Right, please write this one and send your Trivarta classification is over. Right, you may devote 2-3 sentences if at all it is required. Okay, if it is required, you can say again, open it, you can elaborate, you can explain those climatic types, but that is the possibility which I see in the examination, because normally you find the question coming from the comparative aspect. That means you have to compare Privarta with Koppen, and in that case you cannot simply go for unlimited expression. You have a limited time, limited word limit. So you have to be careful here and focus on the main characteristics. Then coming to this E-type, E-type. That E-type climate is also called as boreal climate. Boreal climate. Why boreal? Boreal climate is one climatic type which is found in the very cold condition, right? And that is named after one vegetation. That vegetation is coniferous vegetation. Okay, evergreen coniferous vegetation. So this boreal type of climate, or they are also called as boreal forest. क्या बोलते हैं? Boreal forest, which are dominated by conical shaped, conical shaped trees and needle shaped leaves. Needle shaped, बिल्कुल पतले leaves होते हैं. आपने देखा होगा यहाँ भी you find conifers here. So boreal climate is found in only in northern hemisphere, right? And this climatic type is sometimes also called as supercontinental climate. क्या बोलते हैं? Supercontinental climate, where you have continentality factor taking control over the outlook of the region, right? Whatever the temperature and precipitation characteristics we have here, that is purely controlled by continentality factor. Okay. So this is your boreal type of climate that is found in northern hemisphere only. It's in vast stretch of Russia as well as North America. Okay. That means this is your again it is same like the Koppen classification. The only difference is under Koppen classification the coniferous vegetation, or you can say the Siberian type of climate, falls under D type. Okay. D type, and he used a symbol that is your DW type. Okay, that is your Siberian type. Not found in southern hemisphere. Now coming to the F type, polar type, which is further subdivided into two types. One is your FT, the other is FI. FT is your tundra type. That means subarctic climate, where you have land having some having been bordered by water surfaces. Right? And because of this, we have some vegetations found here. कुछ vegetation यहाँ पे मिलते हैं, जैसे कि you'll find marine grasses, you'll find mosses, lichens, right? These are the vegetations found in the tundra. Right? Okay, that is why it is different from the permanent cover of snow and ice, that is your ice cap, right? So these two belts are different. So over the continent you'll find thick cover of snow and ice. Just like Antarctica, right? In Arctic belt also you'll find thick cover of snow and ice, right? But the cover of snow and ice is much deeper over Antarctica than in the Arctic belt. Are you getting my point? So this is one reason why we have tundra type not found in southern hemisphere. You do not have any vegetation found in the Antarctic belt. There is no fracturing of land, right? You'll find the land being unified. Just see your atlas and see the continent of Antarctica, right? You will not find any inlet into the continent. This is a single large landmass. Okay. But here you have Arctic belt where you have small pieces of land. They are being fractured, or the land being inundated by water. That is the reason why you have this ice cap climate being separated from the tundra type. Okay. Koppen ने ऐसा नहीं किया. Koppen did not separate that. He only said that you have ET type of climate. ET, right? ET type of climate, that is your polar tundra climate, and that is found only in northern hemisphere, not in southern hemisphere. But Privarta subdivided that into two parts, and he said that ice cap, the polar ice cap, this climate type you would be found, you would be seeing in both the hemispheres, that means in Arctic belt as well as Antarctic belt. Right. This is your climatic type which has been given by Privarta on the basis of temperature. Now coming to the climate type based on precipitation, this is your B type. Okay. B type, that is your dry climate. Okay. Further subdivided into two major types here. One is your BW again similar with the Coppens classification. BW is your right. BW is your hot desert climate. W is what? Hot desert. Capital W. Okay. And right and BS is your steppe type. Okay. Capital S is steppe. Okay. Steppe is your temperate grasses. We call those steppe region or steppe vegetation as short grasses. Right. We find short grasses. And this is BW and BS type is further subdivided to two climatic type, and that is based on what? That is based on again that is based on precipitation. So you find BWH and BWK. BWH is representing hot deserts. H you all know. H means the average temperature of the region remains above 80 degrees Celsius throughout the year. Right, throughout the year. And K is what? Average temperature of the region remains below 80 degrees Celsius throughout the year. Okay. So this is your hot desert, this is your cold desert. Fine. Likewise, BS type has been divided into two types. One is your BSH, that is your tropical steppe, and the other is your BSK, that is your temperate steppe, or we also call it as boreal, right? Boreal steppe. That means cool temperate region where you have short grasses. Okay. This is your Trivarta classification. Okay. So what you have to do here, you just have to keep in mind the differences, the minor differences we have between Köppen and Trivarta classification. Normally you will find question coming from this topic where you have a comparative analysis demanded for Trivarta and Köppen classification. You just have to focus more on differences, right? Because the similarities are very high. Okay, you will find large number of similarities here. Differences are few, and you have to focus on the differences. Okay, it is point here. So Trivarta classification, when you talk about Trivarta classification, there are some important observations we have with regard to Trivarta classification. I mean to say the evaluation which you have followed for Köppen classification, the same evaluation you can take copy paste for Trivarta classification also. Right? Why? Number one, because Trivarta also gave overdue importance to temperature and precipitation, right? Temperature and precipitation. So he again, just like Köppen, he gave more importance to precipitation and temperature. And SAN did not include other meteorological conditions or meteorological phenomena like you have jet stream, like you have air masses. These were not included by Trivarta. Yes. Just like Köppen, he also talked about the distribution of land and water having important influence upon temperature and precipitation. Okay. So these were some of the observations we have with regard to the Trivarta classification. So when you have to evaluate the scheme, you have to follow Köppen's scheme, right? Whatever merits and demerits we have in the Köppen's scheme, the same you can replicate for, right? The same you can highlight for the Trivarta classification also, because it is more or less, right? It is more or less a modified form of Köppen's classification. Okay? It is point here. So this is your Trivarta classification. Good. Fine. So we are done with the scheme of climatic classification. Now we can take up some important climatic types. Just 3-4 climatic types, and I'll devote 5 minutes only. That is more than enough because that is not part of our syllabus. One more point I want to highlight here. See, there are some topics which will have overlapping in other units also. Okay, like the part which is more important for you is biomes. That means the world biomes. Okay, and when we talk about world biomes, okay, you have to focus more on the plant and animal life. Okay, plant and animal life. That means the aggregation of natural vegetation, right? Aggregation of natural vegetation and the adaptability of animals. That means the animals which are living in perfect harmony with the vegetation in any particular area, that becomes the biome. उसी को हम बोलते हैं biome, right? Biome we are not going to cover under climate, right? Under climate we have to focus only on the climatic characteristics. Okay? So biome should be covered under biogeography. Okay? Then you find one topic called climate change. ठीक है, climate change. I'll talk about that. ठीक है, लेकिन सबसे पहले first of all let's talk about some important climatic types. Okay, and before that I'll highlight the difference between climatic region, biomes and natural region. ठीक है, so let us not get confused when suddenly when we hear those terms. We should be very clear what we are studying. Okay, what mandate we have under those different terms. That is your tropical that is your climatic region, biomes and natural region. Is this point clear? Yes. Boreal same name, cool बोलता है, इसलिए मैंने यहाँ पे टेम्परेट लिखा है. Temperate or boreal. Boreal मतलब any such vegetation which exists in cool condition, right? ठीक है. देखो ये term निवार्ता ने इस्तेमाल किया just why, right? I mean this is the reason why I have highlighted this. Actually it should be temperate on. Reason being the temperate region has cooler condition. Okay. Like we have the term boreal coming from one vegetation type which survives in inhospitable condition, that is in Siberia, and that vegetation is also called as taiga forest. इसको taiga forest बोलते हैं, evergreen coniferous vegetation. तो term the term has been derived from there, but for convenience, just to avoid any confusion, so he used the boreal term here because it may confuse with this with this savanna type, right? Savanna type is what? This is your region which is dominated by tall grasses, right? Tall grasses, whereas steppe grasses are shorter grasses. They are short and soft, right? Whereas the tropical grasslands, they are taller, right? They are sharper, they are very coarse grasses. They are not soft. Okay. So these are the observations which have been kept in mind, based on which he gave those climatic types. Okay. If you are not comfortable, you can use temperate. That's why I gave you one option. Okay. Now, while we are following this exercise, let me clarify the motive which I have behind discussing this particular topic. The only intention is to avoid any kind of exigency or any emergency situation. Right? You may have a situation where a scheme of climatic classification can be asked, and along with that, a particular region, that means a particular climatic type can also be asked. That means, just imagine a situation where the question says, discuss or explain the scheme of Poppen's classification with special reference to CF type of climate, right? Or with a special reference to AF type of climate. Are you getting my point? Okay. So I'll recommend all of you to refer to one book. You all must be having that book. That is your certificate physical and human geography by Go Ching Leong. सबके पास है, ठीक है? तो लीजर टाइम में जब आपको बिल्कुल फ्री टाइम लगे, ठीक है, तो एक रीडिंग करना, बहुत मजा आएगा पढ़ने में, right? You'll have a kind of world tour, right? So go for that climatic type. So I follow that book only, ठीक है? For your classes I follow the same book, है ना? तो कुछ अलग नहीं है, कुछ अलग सोर्स नहीं है, जो है सो आपके पास है, ठीक है? Is this point clear? So please go through one reading, just one reading, complete all 11 types which have been given by Poppen, right? And because you know that Poppen's classification is still the most followed classification, so we go for the climatic types according to the Poppen scheme, okay? Is this point clear? So keep in mind why we are discussing this. three terms here: climatic regions, biomes, and natural regions. Okay. So what are those climatic regions? When we study any climatic region, we focus on two important variable of climate geology, that is temperature and precipitation. So that means we talk about temperature and precipitation characteristics. Okay, on the temperature and precipitation characteristics, your discussion on climate type is over. Right, this is what we do for explaining the climatic I would say condition in any part of the world. Right. When we also include natural vegetation, right? That means when we study the natural vegetation, that means the distribution of plants and animals in any particular belt, along with the discussion of temperature and precipitation characteristics, then that study becomes the study of biomes. उसको हम बोलते हैं biome. So biome includes what? Biome involves the study of natural vegetation and animal life. Okay. ठीक है, मतलब प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स. ठीक है, तो प्लांट और एनिमल को पढ़ने के लिए आपको पानी और क्या मालूम है, पानी और टेम्परेचर दोनों को जानना जरूरी है. ठीक है ना, उसी के हिसाब से उनका लाइफ होगा. ठीक है. नाउ व्हेन यू स्टडी बायोम्स, दैट मींस नेचुरल वेजिटेशन, animal life along with the human adaptation, because you cannot separate human beings from, you cannot separate man from environment. So when you study man, and environment together, okay, that gives natural regions. So natural regions are a broader concept. याद रखना है, natural regions are a broader concept, and biomes and climatic regions, they are subset of natural region. Okay, subset. क्योंकि एनवायरमेंट से हम अलग नहीं है ना, हम भी जहाँ भी रह रहे हैं, चाहे वो डेंस फॉरेस्ट हो, चाहे वो पोलर एरियाज हो, है ना. So we are having different level of adjustment and adaptation developed by human beings according to the prevailing climatic conditions. And when I say prevailing climatic conditions, that means your temperature and precipitation characteristics. Okay, this is what you have to keep in mind. What differences you have. So I said in biogeography you have coverage of biomes. Okay, biomes, है ना. So here I am going to focus only on temperature and precipitation characteristics. Right, little bit of reference we can have for the biome, that is the natural vegetation, but that is not part of our discussion. Okay. Now coming to this climatic type, the first one you can see here AF type. Okay, AF type, and according to Trivarta classification, that is your AR type. याद होगा AR type. And if you follow Tolstoy classification, then it becomes A dash R type. Yes or no? A dash R type. R type, that means there is no deficit of rain in any season. है ना? So AF type is this is what climatic type is also called as hot wind equatorial type of climate, because of the prevalence of uniform high temperature throughout the year, uniform high precipitation throughout the year. So you have uniformity of high temperature and uniformity of precipitation throughout the year. Now because of uniformity of temperature throughout the year, what will happen to the annual and diurnal range of temperature here? Obviously the annual and diurnal range of temperature is recorded to be lowest here, right? Lowest. Okay, you know that in saying equatorial belt, the highest temperature will be recorded in the month of March and September. Why? Because the sun is overhead on equator. Yes, yes or no? March and September, when the sun is overhead on equator. So March and September are your warmest month. When I say warmest month, the temperature difference with other month would be in the range of 2 to 3 degrees only, right? Not more than that. Okay. So you have uniformity of high temperature. All months are warm, right? All months are warm. But the warmest of warm month you will find when in the month of March and September, right? And the temperature is relatively less. That means 2 to 3 degrees only. Okay, relatively less during 2 months. You know, that is June and December, right? When sun is shining over Cancer and Capricorn. Okay. So this is your characteristics of this belt, where we have uniformity of high temperature and uniformity of high precipitation. Okay. Now one more thing you should keep in mind, when I talked about the temperature characteristics here, the right, I said the hottest, right, the hottest condition, or you can say the highest temperature recorded here would be around 32 degrees Celsius, and the lowest temperature recorded in a year would be around 29, right, 29 degrees Celsius. That means you have a difference of around 3 degrees Celsius only. So this is your annual range of temperature. You all know what is annual range of temperature, right? So annual range of temperature is, right, is the difference between highest and lowest temperature recorded in a year. Okay, and you know when you have highest temperature recorded in summer, lowest temperature recorded when during winter. So this is your annual range of temperature which remains lowest here in comparison to any other climatic time, right? This is applicable to diurnal range of temperature also because the Earth's surface has received large amount of solar sun and it keeps on emitting that energy even during the night, right? Even during the night. That means even during the night you have release of terrestrial radiation and that heats up the atmosphere and keep the lower part of the atmosphere warmer, right? So be it your day or your night, the conditions are same, right? So even during a day, that means the diurnal range of temperature also remains lowest here in comparison to any other climate, right? Any other climate in the world. Okay. So this is your temperature characteristics. Coming to rainfall characteristics, you will find rainfall throughout the year, right? Throughout the year, and no day rainfall less than 6 centimeters. Okay, right? The highest of high rainfall would be recorded in which month? Obviously, it would be in the month of March and September when the sun is overhead on equator. That is why we also call this region having equinox rainfall. क्या बोलते हैं? Equinox rainfall, and you have double peak equinox rainfall. मतलब you'll have two high of rainfall, two maxima of rainfall in the month of March and September. Okay, this is your temperature and precipitation characteristics in this hot wet equatorial type of climate. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Hot wet equatorial type of climate having its latitudinal extension from 0 to 10 degree north and 0 to 10 degree south. Okay, so this is your hot wet equatorial type of climate. Now talking about the natural vegetation, you know the dominant vegetation here is tropical rainforest, okay, or we also call it as equatorial rainforest. Okay, so tropical evergreen forest, tropical rainforest, this is the dominant vegetation here. We also know that this is the belt where you have highest level of biodiversity, right? Highest level of biodiversity observed in the world, right? That means over the land area, the highest variety of highest variety of the largest gene pool, right? The largest gene pool you will find where in the equatorial belt. So it has highest biodiversity. Obviously, when you compare the whole Earth, we know that the highest biodiversity occur in marine environment, not over the land area, right? And that is why, what is the reason behind that? The reason that is your antecedents of life, right? The history of life. The history of life. Okay, life first of all started in marine environment around 3,800 million years ago. That is why we have maximum diversification of that, maximum diversification of that gene characteristics, and you have variety of life forms. Okay, so marine environment most diverse form of life in comparison to terrestrial environment. That means your land area. But over the land, the highest biodiversity is found here in this particular belt. Okay, right? Now coming to this one, number 2, AW type. Okay, AW type is your savanna type of climate. Okay, the savanna type of climate, or we also call it as tropical winter dry climate. As I told you just now, you have surface temperature remaining very high. Okay, you have cloud formation, right? You have cloud formation, but the clouds are not fully saturated. And when the cloud gets saturated and they start falling, right? That means the raindrops start falling. You have environmental temperature remaining very high, and because of that, maximum part of that precipitation is evaporated before it reaches the surface of the Earth. Okay, and ultimately you have moisture scarcity here. Okay, you will find moisture scarcity here. With regard to the temperature condition, I told you have high temperature conditions, high temperature condition throughout the year. Okay, the summers are hot, no doubt. The winters are relatively cool. Okay, winters are relatively cool. Why? Because it is one climatic type where you have the factor of continentality operating. Okay, located in the interior part of the continent. So we'll have factor of continentality operating here. You already know what is factor of continentality. Okay. So this is your savanna type. Now coming to the precipitation, I said the precipitation is meager here. You do not have sufficient moisture here, and because of this, what happens? You have मतलब जो भी बारिश होगा है समझ लेना, जो भी थोड़ा बड़ा बारिश होता है, that is during summer only, right? Why? Again you can understand, because of the continentality effect, convectional activities are more dominant during summer, right? Summer में temperature बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, because of that you have strong convection taking place here over the land, and said that that's sometimes it gives rainfall, right? और वो भी कैसा रेनफॉल होगा, maybe for 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 13 minutes, 12 minutes, right? Rain is over very soon. So you find overcast condition, but suddenly the condition changes here. You do not get sufficient amount of precipitation here. Okay, this is your savanna belt. Now because of this moisture scarcity here, you find this belt dominated by a vegetation that is your tropical grassland, जिसको हम लोग savanna grassland बोलते हैं. In Africa, in Australia, right, we call it as savanna grassland. Okay, so they are dominated by tall grasses. आपको grasses कितना मिलेंगे? मतलब maybe 13-14 feet taller, right? And they are also called as elephant grasses, right? Just because of their tall structure. They are coarser, they are harder, they are having very sharp edges. मतलब the moment you come in contact with the grasses, right, you may have a cut on your skin, right, because the grasses that means their edges are very sharp. Okay, so this is your savanna type. Okay. Now next one is your BW. BW is your desert type of climate. Okay. Now why we have this hot deserts located in the western margin of the continent? You know, what are the factors? I told you about the 4 factors, right? Why the hot deserts are found in the western margin of the continent? Number 1, right? These hot deserts are located in the subtropical high pressure belt, where you have subsidence of air condition. And subsidence of air condition or anticyclonic condition will lead to what? It will produce dryness over the land, right? There is no chance of cloud formation. There is no chance of precipitation unless until you have air masses going up into the altitude and cooling adiabatically. We don't expect any cloud formation or any chance of precipitation. Okay. So you have this belt characterized by anticyclonic condition, right? Okay, anticyclonic condition, high pressure condition. So this belt is located where? In the subtropical high pressure belt. Okay, which is characterized by anticyclonic condition or subsidence of air condition. Then there is no chance of cloud formation or precipitation. Okay. Number 2, second point. These hot deserts are drained by or they are washed by offshore wind. क्या है? Offshore wind. You talk about any hot desert of the world. You find the hot deserts of the world. They are washed by or they are drained by offshore wind. Offshore का बताइए आपको, what are the offshore winds? Let us take for example the continent of Africa to understand this. This is your subtropical high pressure belt. This is your equatorial low pressure belt. This is your subtropical high pressure belt. Okay, in both the hemispheres. Now, what is the wind direction? Wind direction क्या है? You know, that is northeast and that is southeast in southern hemisphere. Yes. You will find Sahara Desert located where? Here. And the desert is what? It is subjected to offshore wind, right? Offshore wind का मतलब क्या हुआ? Whatever moisture you have on the land area, that will be further taken away toward the sea, right? Yes or no? And that will produce more dryness over the land. Okay. You have Namib Desert, you have Kalahari Desert. Okay. All the hot deserts are located where? In the subtropical high pressure belt, and they are characterized by anticyclonic condition, and they are washed by they are drained by offshore wind. Okay. तो ऑफशोर विंड कभी भी बारिश नहीं कर सकते, ठीक है? एंड देन द लास्ट पॉइंट, तो 4 पॉइंट मैंने बोला. पहला, देयर लोकेशन इन द सबट्रॉपिकल हाई प्रेशर बेल्ट. नंबर 2, दे आर वॉश्ड बाय ऑफशोर विंड. नंबर 3, दे are located in the western margin of the continent. Number 4, all the hot deserts of the world are bordered by cold ocean currents. They are bordered by cold ocean current. Cold current. We have Canary current here. You will find Benguela current here. Okay. Now you know that cold water mass will be associated with what kind of air? कैसा air होगा? मैंने पहले भी आपको बहुत बार समझाया. जैसे मान लो ये क्या है? This is the mass of water which is having cold condition. ठीक है? Cold mass of water on the surface. Then what would be the temperature condition of air over the water mass? अरे पानी के ऊपर जो हवा होगा वो कैसा होगा? ठंडा या गर्म? Obviously that would be cool air, right? Now cool air will have a tendency to always subside. Yes or no? Always have a tendency to subside and ultimately what will happen? मालूम है आपको? If subsidence is taking place, there is no chance of adiabatic cooling, cloud formation, rainfall. Yes or no? That is why the hot deserts are subjected to extreme aridity, extreme dryness because they have been bordered by cold ocean current. अगर warm current होता तो क्या होता? उसके ऊपर गर्म हवा होता, right? And the warm air has a tendency to rise up. It will have some moisture also, and ultimately it can adiabatically cool, and it will lead to cloud formation and may give precipitation. Okay. So this is one reason why we have hot deserts having extreme dryness. Okay. One more thing you can say, do you have atlas with you? Atlas है किसी के पास? बहुत दिन से मैंने atlas दिखाया नहीं आपको, तो आदत छूट गया होगा. See page number 85. कोई बात नहीं, जिनके पास है वो देख लीजिए इस बार. Just see, sorry, आपका 8th edition है, तो see page number 84, the middle map, बीच वाला map. और देखो वहाँ पे मैं बोलते जाऊँगा, देखते जाना, ठीक है? यहाँ पे सारा डेजर्ट है, दिस योर कैनेरी करंट. यू मैप करेंगे कैनेरी करंट, कोल्ड करंट, ठीक है? Just see this one. Here you have Namibia desert, Kalahari desert, and you find one cold current here, Benguela current. है क्या? ठीक है. Now come to Australia. In Australia you have many deserts, Great Australian Desert, you have Gibson Desert, Great Sandy Desert, and you find one current here. देखो, do you find a current here, West Australian current? है क्या? Now go to this one. Atacama Desert, located in Chile, right? And it is the driest desert of the world. Driest. Not the hottest. Hottest is Sahara, right? The driest desert of the world is Atacama. And you find one current here, that is Peru current. देखो, Peru current or Humboldt current. ठीक है? Why it is having driest condition? Because Peru current is the strongest of all, right? Strongest of all cold current. याद रखना. Right? Later on in Indian geography, when we start with Indian monsoon, we'll talk about El Nino, La Nina, yes or no? Okay? And that is associated with this particular current. Okay? So that is your Peru current. Now you see this one. Yeah. You'll find Sonoran Desert, Californian Desert, yes, and one current here that is bordering. Right? What is the desert? That is your Californian current. Okay? तो जितने भी hot deserts हैं वो क्या है? They are being bordered by cold ocean current, and that further dampens any chance or possibility of cloud formation. Okay, clear? Now the last one we are going to see is your Mediterranean type of climate. Okay, Mediterranean type of climate, or it is also called as warm temperate western margin climate or Mediterranean type of climate, which is having its dominant region or sort core region lying around the Mediterranean sea bed. So Mediterranean sea है उसके आसपास. Like you have those countries, like you have Spain, you have southern part of France, you have Italy, okay, you have Portugal. So these countries, you have Israel. You find Cyprus, Turkey. These all countries are having this climate. Okay. Now this Mediterranean type of climate is characterized by what? It is characterized by winter rainfall. We have summer dry and winter rainfall. Generally what happens? In which season there is a possibility of rising air conditions? Obviously during summer, right? अरे विंटर में तो क्या होगा ना, हवा ठंडा हो जाएगा, और हवा ठंडा हो जाएगा तो it will have a tendency to subside. Okay, but during summer you have the water, you have the air masses being heated up, and sun, right, they have a tendency to rise. Yes, they have a tendency to rise. ऊपर चले जाते हैं, तो ऊपर जाएंगे तो क्या होगा, adiabatic cooling, cloud formation, precipitation. Okay, this is one aberration here where the region is having what, summer, right, summer dry and winter wet condition. Okay, winter wet condition. And why this is so? This is because of the shifting of the pressure belt following the upward movement of sun northward and sun southward. Right? Okay, बात समझ में आ रहा है? And because of the shift of the pressure belt, because of the shift of the pressure belt, what happens? The direction of the wind changes. Right? Direction of the wind changes over such region, which becomes offshore during summer and becomes onshore during winter. Right? आपको मालूम है, if you have onshore wind, there is a chance of what? There is a chance of moisture. Right? Moisture being brought to the land. It will adiabatically cool, cloud formation, and you will have precipitation. ठीक है? So the region behind winter rainfall in Mediterranean region or Mediterranean climate is what? Is the shifting of the pressure belt, right? Shifting of the pressure belt following the upward movement of sun northward and southward. Let us take one example to understand this. You all know the Mediterranean Sea belt. So again, I am taking the map of Africa. This is your Mediterranean belt. Fine. This is your equatorial belt. This is your subtropical high pressure belt, and this is your subtropical high pressure belt here. ठीक है? Equatorial, subtropical, high pressure, low pressure. ठीक है? You know the wind direction. Wind direction क्या है? Northeast, and this is your southeast. Yes. Now what happens? You have apparent movement of sun northward. Apparent movement of sun northward. ठीक है? Apparent movement of sun northward. Okay, what will happen then? All the pressure belt shifts northward. Yes, all the pressure belt will shift northward. See this one? This is the normal location. Now the pressure belt shifts northward, and the pressure belt gets established here. Okay, this is your subtropical high pressure belt. Equatorial belt will further shift northward, and I told you maximum shift will occur for subtropical high pressure belt. What is the latitudinal limit of shift? I said this is 5 to 10 degree, right? 5 to 10 degree. This latitudinal belt will also shift northward. This is the new position now. Now when you have summer, जब apparent movement of sun northward है, तो that means you have summer in the northern hemisphere, and you have winter in the southern hemisphere. Yes or no? Winter in the southern hemisphere. Now you find what is the direction of wind between subtropical high pressure belt and subpolar low pressure belt. Subtropical high pressure, this is your subpolar low pressure. You know westerlies? Yes or no? Westerlies. And because of this, what happens? The westerlies become onshore and they cause rainfall here in Cape Town province of Africa. ठीक है? अब याद रखना है, साउदर्न वेस्ट में विंटर चल रहा है ना? और नॉर्दर्न वेस्ट में क्या है? समर. तो the Mediterranean belt during summer will have what? Offshore wind, no rainfall. Yes. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? Onshore wind, right? ठीक है? Onshore wind, and they are getting rainfall. देखो आप एक काम करो, you open page number 84, 82, 83 देखना. वहाँ पे you will find once our map, that is your map of climatic regions. Map of climatic regions. Just see the right one. Climatic regions. दिख रहा है? Go to the next page. Last one. देखना वहाँ पे इंडेक्स में एक पिंक कलर का आपको मिलेगा मेडिट्रानियन, राइट? मेडिट्रानियन पार्ट. देखो कहाँ पे है वो? सी द साउदर्न पार्ट जो मैंने अभी लिखा है अफ्रीका का, वहाँ पे है क्या? केप टाउन. ठीक है? बात समझ में आ रहा है? अब देखो जब साउथवर्ड मूवमेंट होगा, नाउ सी दिस वन, ठीक है. When you have the southward movement of sun, तो क्या होने वाला है? Say this one. When the southward movement of sun, you have the pressure belt shifting southward. Pressure belt will shift southward. Yes. Now this is the location of the subtropical high pressure belt. This is the location of equatorial low pressure belt. And अब southern hemisphere में क्या होने वाला है? This is your equatorial belt, 0 degree. And the subtropical high pressure belt is here now. अब बताओ क्या होगा इस region को, same region which receive rainfall during winter, now it is having what? And what is the direction of wind between subtropical high pressure belt and equatorial low pressure belt? You know that is your southeast. और यहाँ क्या होगा? Northeast. Yes. What is the direction of wind between subtropical high pressure belt and subpolar low pressure belt? Westerlies. Westerlies will become what? Offshore, and they will cause rainfall here in this particular belt. ठीक है? Last one में आ रहा है. So this is your shifting of the pressure belt, which is responsible for changing the direction of the wind, which becomes offshore during summer and becomes onshore during winter, causing winter rainfall. ठीक है? This is about the Mediterranean type. I have just given you brief explanation of this. Okay? So this is about the scheme and climatic type. We can devote 5-10 minutes, just 10 minutes. I will highlight what's what you have to do in other topics. Okay.